Hey guys, how are you guys doing? This time we are going to visit Peru. Vamos! Welcome to Arequipa, the city surrounded by volcanoes. This is my second favorite city after Cusco. I highlighted some of the areas that you should explore if you decided to spend a day in the city. I highly recommend that you take the time to explore Santa Catalina Monastery. It is so rich in color and it is so beautiful, and it is definitely a great place for you to stroll along for several hours. On that evening that I was in Arequipa, the sky was so beautiful, as you can see in these videos. The most famous thing that people do around Arequipa is Colca Canyon. This canyon is 120 kilometers long, and it is one of the world's deepest canyon. On top of that, I highly suggest that you spend a couple days exploring the canyon. You can go on a multi-day trek to really enjoy the beauty of it, and also to look at the condor, which is an endangered species. Welcome to Lake Titicaca. This lake itself is the highest lake that is still navigatable in the world. So imagine you go visit the lake and you can actually get altitude sickness because of the elevation. Another special thing about Lake Titicaca, it's the floating islands, and also the balsa, which is the boat that made of reeds, the same material as the floating island. Pre-Inca indigenous people called Uros are actually still living nowadays in these floating islands. Something to keep in mind, you don't need to spend a full night in Puno, which is the city that has access to the lake. There is a tour that will take you about, 6 to 8 hours during the day, that they will take you around the lake, around the floating islands, and stop by one of the main islands called Amantani. Congratulations on making your way all the way to Cusco. This is my most favorite cities in Peru. The reason I'm taking the bus and letting you along this journey all the way from Lima to Cusco is to allow you to slowly getting acclimated to the altitude of Cusco, and eventually if you're going to do the treks, this is when you also have a better acclimation. So here's something to keep in mind. If you did not book the Inca Trail trek ahead of time, that is something you have to book like 4 months ahead of time. This city is the place where you would book your alternative trek, which is Salkantay trek. You will save so much money versus booking it online.
They're waiting at an X-ray vision.
You see this?
A really famous thing to do around Cusco, of the many things you can do, one of them is the Rainbow Mountain. It is definitely a challenging one because of the elevation. The Rainbow Mountain sits at over 5,000 meters. So when you hike up to the peak, you definitely will experience, the shortness of breath, and you get tired easily, you have a harder time breathing. So definitely take your time and just ascending slowly. Something that you cannot miss is the Untitled Lake. It is incredibly beautiful lake. You can either do a day trip or you can also go on the Salkantay trek that will get you to the lake. Welcome to Aguascalientes, or I call it the pathway to Machu Picchu. This is the city where people would come spend the night, and then the next morning they will wake up early so they can catch the sunrise at the top of the mountain. Congratulations guys, you made your way all the way to Machu Picchu. From here, I highly suggest that you do an extra hike to the top of the Picchu mountain for a great panoramic view.
You and I, we were meant to be. I feel it in my soul. Feel it in my soul. Never separated, you and me. Broken made whole. Broken made whole. The world that tries to steal our hope.
As always, thank you so much for watching the video. Peru will definitely be in my heart with all the experiences that I have had.